goal. That is a dream goal.
They found it. They finally found the goal they were looking for.
What a finish that is. Do not scratch your eyes. This is really happening.
Damn it. Alright, we're good again. Is this it's not too hot? No. Alright, hello everyone, sorry for that false start. We are at St. John's for the APSL Metropolitan final. The Pancyprian Freedoms taking on Hoboken FC today after a very dramatic round of semi-finals last weekend. Hoboken defeating the APSL Metro regular season champions, the Greek Americans, with a 95th minute Mike Bello winner, and the Pancyprians coming from behind against Lansdowne Yonkers. They were a goal down, and Tristino with a quick fire brace getting them this far. This is the fourth final at St. John's in the last 5 years. The Pancyprians have won the previous 3. For Hoboken, this is their first time this far. In fact, the first time in their 114-year history that they have made a top-flight playoff final. They have truly been an entertaining wild card all season. Sorry guys, I think we're having a little trouble here. But anyway, I was saying, delighted to have John Bucklow in the commentary box with me today. Coach John, Coach John, you've, I know you watched back the most recent meeting between these two sides. It was a goal-filled occasion. Hoboken came out on top that day. What do you think was the difference for Hoboken in that occasion, and what do both sides need to focus on today?
Yeah, I mean, I think any game is always ultimately decided by moments and how important either taking a moment is or not taking a moment, and how much that can influence just the psychology of a game. And I think when you look back at the previous game, a really interesting game just in terms of the timing of the goals. So, of course, initially I think with Hoboken scoring off a corner kick to get things started, and Pancyprian finding their way back with, right at the 45th minute, managing to get themselves 2-1 ahead. And I think that makes it a really interesting halftime for a coach. And what was really interesting was Hoboken immediately coming in from the second half, 2 quick goals to go up 3-2. And you can see how that psychologically starts to swing things. And I think even more so today in a final, moments become magnified, because ultimately this is do or die. You have to find a way to win. And as much as tactically
Hey guys, sorry, we've been having a lot of technical difficulties in this first few minutes, just struggling a bit with the heat. The sun is bearing down us at St. John's. But yeah, John, talk about the heat. I think we got cut off right as you were talking about that. But yeah, how would you approach this?
Yeah, no, I think it's really important that, it's much, of course, everybody wants to have a good start. I think it's much worse when you have a bad start. And so I think the beginning for these type of games, if I'm a coach, is more so about really leaning into our identity of who we are as a group to try to make this as normal as occasion as possible, but also just make sure there's no catastrophes, make sure there's nothing in the beginning of the game where we're giving opportunities away. And I think as we start to look in to how we manage the heat, sometimes these games are often lost in the first 10 minutes. Because of the excitement of the final, the desire to want to do well, the desire to want to start well sometimes can put you on the back foot, either in terms of, you maybe giving more than you need to get through a half, both physically or emotionally. And I think that's the big thing. I think in any final, it's always the team that can manage themselves emotionally and use their emotions to serve the team, as opposed to trying to make myself feel better when things maybe don't go my way.
Well, the teams that both will line up with to kick us off here. Joshua Levine in goal for the Pancyprian Freedoms. Ricky Cedarbard, right centre-back. Gray at centre-back. Gusky, who's a recent addition at left centre-back. And then we're going to have Stephen O'Connell and Eric Frimpong, who've been regulars in the wing-back positions. Joe Holland and Balon, familiar names midfield. Recent signing, Kevin Johnson, made a big difference against Lansdowne last weekend, expecting him to be in the number 6. The front two will be James Tristino and Braden Brown. And we'll get to our Hoboken lineup in just a second, as James Tristino will kick off here the 2026 APSL. Okay, we're going to unplug this for now and just see if that changes something. So just waiting for the net to be fixed here. But for Hoboken, our starting 11, Keenan in goal, Kobe, McGregor and Corriman, the centre-backs. Searchwell will be at right centre-back, Adam Garner at left centre-back, Eric Ruiz and Rojek in the midfield, Luke Smith in the number 10, Cameron McGregor, who is the real danger man for Hoboken, 15 goals in the regular season, the third top scorer in the division. He'll be on the left wing, Ranchi St. Ville at the right wing, and Mike Bello will be leading the line. And Mike Bello, of course, the reason Hoboken are here scoring in the 95th minute from the corner to dramatically beat the Greek Americans. Well, they've had a look at the net. The final checks are done, and we're off. For the fourth time in 5 years, the APSL Metro Final kicks off at St. John's. Will it be another evening to remember for the Pancyprians, or can Hoboken slay another Greek giant to lift their first top-flight playoff title in 114 years of history? We're sitting at about 83 degrees as we kick off. So plenty of heat, as John and I were talking about in the pre-match. That shouldn't slow down the tempo too much. This has been an explosive fixture this season. The two teams met in the space of about a month earlier in the spring. The Pancyprians won the first one at Laurel Hill Park, 3-1. Really, it was the final. Early searching ball towards O'Connell. That's right, St. Ville, who's going to be a very tricky customer for the Pancyprians to deal with. A little too heavy, the return from Rojek. John, I know you have played a lot of different formations, and you're quite often fluid with Metoval. How does the 5-3-2 for the Pancyprians, how does that match up against the 4-3-3 for Hoboken?
To be honest, it's awkward, right? For me, the 5-3-2, when done well, can be the most difficult to manage because of, first and foremost, you're dealing with a back three, and typically watching Hoboken that likes to sit more of a block. Who's going to deal with the wider center backs is going to be interesting to see. Who's going to deal with the wing backs? Is it going to be the right and left back jumping on? Are they pulling the right and left wingers deeper to help deal with the wing backs? Is going to be the other thing to quickly get a look at to determine how this is eventually going to play out.
Sebastian Rojek. Well, that's right, St. Ville's got in behind. He's got Mike Bello in the middle. Cameron McGregor steaming up on the far side. Josh Gray positioned himself decently, but perhaps St. Ville will be a little disappointed with the final pass, but nonetheless, he's won a corner kick here early for Hoboken.
And I think early indications here is that there's a slightly more aggressive approach with Hoboken, with I think the wingers in particular trying to be slightly more advanced and perhaps dealing with the wide center backs, and you can see the advantage of that here in this last moment with the winger being higher in the transition moment and giving them an opportunity to break and win themselves a corner.
Floated into a 6-yard box, and Josh Levine will gather that all day long. Talking about these wingers, John, and indeed the entire front line for Hoboken, it is so pacey among its many other qualities. Pancyprians often like to have possession. How would you approach dealing with this Hoboken front three? Because if you really push numbers forward from a Pancyprians perspective, you're leaving. How many minutes? 3. So just got a stoppage here on the far side, and the ball being retrieved for a Hoboken free kick. Can be driven in by Adam Garner. Seaberg with the first header. Here's Eric Frimpong, one of the standout players this season for the Pancyprians, joined over the summer. Well, had plenty of energy down the flank.
And I think in the early going, you can see that this very much feels like a final. Things aren't exactly clean. There's not a whole lot of rhythm to the game yet. Technically, there's been some errors that maybe you wouldn't expect. And I think this is just natural as the guys try to find their feet a little bit and try to manage the occasion. But this is also dangerous moments, I think, for both teams when things aren't going well and there's simple errors that occur. That leaves yourself exposed. So it'll be really curious if one team or the other will be able to find a way to expose the other.
Braden Brown tussling with Corriman, and he got the ball. He's managed to keep it in as well. Braden Brown, the flag has gone up. So I'm presuming when that first pass was knocked up to Brown.
Actually, I think he might be out for a goal kick.
Might have just run out, perhaps.
Absolutely phenomenal, and the timing of McGregor's run to keep himself on side was really, really of the highest order. For me, Pancyprian look a little bit rattled, and it's about as good a start as you could expect from Hoboken. And I think this is, again, another really crucial moment. How are you going to respond? And if Hoboken can really step it up even that much more, find themselves another opportunity. But I think, again, this is where emotionally, for Pancyprian, how are you going to manage this moment? How are we going to use our emotion to fuel and drive the team as opposed to point fingers and blame? And so, yeah, I mean, it's definitely kicked off in an interesting way for us. And I think this is definitely going to open the game and hopefully make for a much more entertaining game as we progress.
I was just saying Hoboken hung on for much of the first half in the semi-final, but in this final, they've scored a goal inside the first 10 minutes. Best kind of start they could have hoped for. Driven force towards Eric Frimpong, who's got plenty of pace. Couldn't quite keep it in. Do you think, John, possibly the line was a bit too high there for the Pancyprians, given the pace they're dealing with?
I mean, I think obviously the pace is something you need to be worried about, but given the lack of pressure on the ball, the lack of action, the lack of reaction to deal with the situation really left themselves really exposed, put the goalkeeper in a really difficult position, and he ended up getting rounded because of it. But I think you really have to also credit the quality of the pass was phenomenal.
Tristino. Strong to keep hold of it, and then lots of guile by Tristino. O'Connell, corner kick for the Pancyprians, their first of the contest. Really determined work by Tristino. Corner's taken. Oh, excuse me, Thomas Scraven. Lovely touch by Jordan Bailon. O'Connell. Be a throw-in for the Pancyprians. Overplayed there by Eric Ruiz, but Hoboken can get away with it. Cameron McGregor, the goal scorer. Rojek. And that is the third time that McGregor has scored against the Pancyprians this season. 3-3 games against the Pancyprians for McGregor. I think it's Ablanedo on the far side, Cederberg even, excuse me. It's just down for a second. Liam Gusky. Ranch way St. Bill, that has somehow stayed in. Devilish spin. St. Bill can take on Gusky. Turns him inside out, across 6-yard box. And it's Mike Bellows judged to have got the final touch. But John, St. Bill is causing all sorts of trouble down this right side now, isn't he?
No, and I mean, largely because of the quality of his press, the moment there, the timing in his release, the speed at which he closed down the wing back here for Pancyprian was really, really of a high quality and didn't leave the Pancyprian wing back with much option. Okay, and I think this is something for Pancyprian right now really seems to be a little bit out of sorts, a little bit unsure of roles and responsibilities here at the moment, and it's something they're going to need to solve as soon as possible, otherwise this could quickly get away from them.
Tristino.
A slightly deeper position, this will limit Hoboken's opportunity to counter. So managing the ball, being a little bit more patient, particularly here in the middle third, forcing the wingers of Hoboken to have to track back and defend will be really important in these next 10, 15 minutes.
Rojek. Midfield line has been broken. McGregor drifting across again. Cederberg stuck closely to him. And Balon will buy the Pancyprians the free kick. Jordan Balon spins it out to O'Connell. Searching for that space in behind for Braden Brown. Not enough quality on the pass. Not sure Balon was aware of how much time he had there. Liam Gusky. I think Tristino was trying to help that round the corner. Got his feet in a muddle. Ruiz. Rojek. Search well. St. Bill went for a canny pass, intercepted by Balon. Holland returns it to Jordan Balon. Gusky. Gray searching for Braden Brown. On the far side, Frimpong towards Braden Brown. Good touch by Keenan, who just did enough to get it away from Brown at that front post.
Yeah, you can see the threat Frimpong immediately brings, and hopefully they can take some encouragement that they can get themselves back in the game. For me, I think I think the game plan for Pancyprian clearly must have been that a back five would have helped them deal with the pace of the front three here for Hoboken. But an issue they're having is with the wing.
Just hang on a second, John. Here's Braden Brown. Oh, it flashes agonisingly across the face of goal, but no dice for Brown.
I think getting back to what I was saying earlier, I think the deeper position of the wing backs is giving Hoboken more time on the ball to be able to play these things in behind. So sometimes, a back five kind of from an intuitive perspective would make sense, but without getting pressure on the ball, the threat behind is always going to be available. So that's something they're going to have to figure out. You can see Frimpong at the moment being a little bit more advanced on that left side. Sorry, on that right side. On this left side, you can see we're not quite as clear whose role and who's to deal with who. But if they're wanting to stop that ball getting in behind, they're going to have to find a way to get pressure higher up the field.
Tristino. Couldn't bring that down. Search well to Kobe McGregor. It's been a high tempo start here at St. John's. About 15 or so minutes gone. Cameron McGregor with the early goal, giving Hoboken the lead. Ranging ball by Simpson. Tristino. Braden Brown. Frimpong. Brown. Wayward cross. Not a lot of options.
Recognize yourselves defensively becomes more difficult, not to mention just the energy that you're putting out there when guys are having to run 30 yards consistently in behind on the sprint over and over. So Hoboken finding a way to manage that moment and pick the moments is going to be really important.
Stephen O'Connell on the far side. Joe Holland has it on his left foot. They will win the corner for the Pancyprians, who, as you say, John, are having a decent spell now. It's going to be an in-swinger from Joe Holland. Commanding header by Kobe McGregor. O'Connell gets the second. It's a little desperate from Hoboken, but they survive. And St. Ville is going to leave Joe Holland for dead and search towards Mike Bellow. Cederberg start with that really well. Very awkward on the bounce. Balon. Holland. Round the corner to Braden Brown. Return to Joe Holland. There'll be a throw in for the Pancyprians deep inside Hoboken's half. Liam Gusky. Eric Frimpong. Joe Holland to deliver the ball in. Sends it in low. Cleared out by Searchwell at the front post. Braden Brown can come again. Searchwell there again. McGregor. Balon got the tackle but wasn't able to keep possession. Be thrown down the line. Simpson, that's it, back where it came from. I'm not sure if we're expecting a water break or not. If so, we'll probably get it in a few minutes. Balon. Luke Smith comes away with a loose ball. Searchwell inadvertently took that right in the face. It comes to St. Ville. O'Connell uncompromising with the tackle. McGregor's come over to this near side. 2 on him. He's done the best he could there and got a corner kick for the visitors. Kobe McGregor, certainly the player Levine will gather off the corner. Frimpong. Cederberg. Simpson didn't quite get the angle right on that ball for Frimpong. He sprays it out to O'Connell.
But the patience Pancyprian's showing right now is really important. You can see the position of St. Ville and McGregor, how much deeper they are, how Bello will start to get himself isolated, and that'll limit their opportunities in transition. So this is really good from Pancyprian at the moment as they're finding a way. Now they've got to figure out how exactly they're going to carve out a goal-scoring opportunity, but in terms of managing the transition, this will put them in a much better space.
Except when you've got quality like this, sometimes best laid plans are irrelevant. Here comes St. Ville, and he's set away Mike Bello. McGregor's by himself in the middle. St. Ville knows McGregor, and it's 2-0 Hoboken. A brace for McGregor, and Hoboken are in dreamland at St. John's.
Yeah, I mean, the front three are clearly a handful, and the question that Pancyprians have to ask themselves right now, is it the plan isn't working and you need to change the plan, or is it the plan's not being executed, and only they'll know that in terms of what they originally thought prior to the game. But in any case, there's going to have to be a response tactically because Hoboken's in a position now where they can really just...
On the counter-attack twice. We're going to have a brief interval here as I think the teams get water. Guys, we have been having a few drops on our end, so we're going to try and just go offline for a second, fix this technical issue we've been having. So just bear with us for a second, guys. Everyone, we're back. Everyone, we're back here from the water break. Cameron McGregor scoring. Right before we went into it.
And in that moment, that physically there has to be more of a contest. There must be something to stop the duel, because this is clearly the threat. The threat for them is in this moment, and the repress when you lose the ball is going to be the most important thing. And if you let somebody...
It's going every roughly 40, 45.
Joe Holland winning that duel. Looking for that space in behind. Rojek. He sent it into Searchwell. It came off of his heels. And here's Joe Holland. That'll be a free kick for Hoboken. Fired up, headed clear by O'Connell. Searchwell. St. Ville dinks it in. Levine watches and gathers. Frimpong overran it. Perhaps a little fortunate there to get that free kick. Looked like McGregor might have got the ball from here.
I think it's also interesting to note with the head coach Joe Holland being on the field how difficult it is to reorganize things in the run of play here. Like, he's really going to have to wait to halftime to get anything organized, to have the opportunity to talk with the rest of his staff, and so I think it's a difficult ask to be able to do both, particularly with the way the game is played now. So. He's going to have to find a way to either get new orders out there or to execute in a better way, or rely on his staff on the bench to step up and do it for him.
Goes back to Shane Keenan. And that was a bit of a hospital ball. It's O'Connell and Keenan with the stop.
Yeah, an absolutely huge stop given the current course of the game. A goal there really could have changed the tides and done something for Pancyprian, so a really, really big save, and now they'll need to step up again here on the corner kick to make sure they can see out the half 2-0.
They do have to be careful, don't they, John? It's a long way to go, and 2-0 feels comfortable, but just one mishap like that and the whole complexion changes.
And this is what we mean. The game, ultimately, game's decided by moments. That was a moment there for Pancyprian and a moment for the Hoboken goalkeeper to step up and make a save. And so this is what the game always comes down to. Tactically, you can make great plans, but it comes down to are the players on the field in a space psychologically, in a space physically, when their moment shows up, they're in a place to take it. And I think ultimately that's what you're there. The tactics, all the pregame stuff is to hopefully limit moments for the other team and give yourselves more moments. But ultimately, it's down to the player to take it, or in the Hoboken goalkeeper's perspective, to stop it.
Headed out by Ruiz at the near post.
And I think the earlier discussion about the heat really makes this a much harder thing to accomplish for Pancyprian, because they really do probably need to step the pressure up a little bit more, and physically, particularly on a field this massive, that's going to be a tall order. But again, one goal changes everything. There's the old saying that this 2-0 is the most dangerous scoreline in the game, and quite frankly, I hate the saying because everybody wants to be 2-0 up. But again, this is the game's psychological, and all of a sudden it can be 2-1. One team gains confidence, the other team starts to get a little bit nervous, and things can change quickly.
I think one thing that is absolutely a no doubt is the Pancyprians have to beat the team to score the next goal if they're going to have any hope of retrieving this.
Yeah, I think that's really clear, unless we're going to see a Liverpool-Milan 3-0 halftime comeback and win in penalties from 2005, which I'm sure the fans would love to see. But yeah, if you're the Hoboken coach, I said earlier how important it is in these finals to kind of lean into your identity, to kind of make this feel as normal a game as possible, and Hoboken's done that. They're comfortable defending in a medium block. They're comfortable with the other team having possession, and they rely on the athleticism and the ability of their front three to create themselves moments in the final third.
Well, the good news for the Pancyprians is in 23 APSL games this season, Hoboken have only kept 5 clean sheets. They've never done so against the Pancyprians. But this has been their strongest start against the Blues, certainly. There's a commanding lead. And a lot because of this man, McGregor, who goes down with great theatrics. I'm not sure there was a lot in that.
Not enough for a penalty, surely.
Searchwell. Saintville. Pancyprians come away with it. Hoboken escaping there. We'll have the free kick. There's Adam Garnett. Good interception by Simpson. All right, Frimpong. Oh, it's just loose from Simpson. St. Vilt. Well, actually, St. Vilt, who's got both of the assists for Cameron McGregor. And here is the man of the moment, taking on Frimpong. Drills it in. Gusky able to clear the lines. Great, we'll just let it run out for a goal kick. Right, at our time, we've probably got about 10 minutes remaining in this first half. Great, finds O'Connell. Tackled by Searchwell. Thomas Gray. Balon. And, you know, in all the excitement with the goal for Hoboken, actually missed. Jens Hoffer's come on for Cederberg, who was injured in the lead-up to Hoboken's second goal, the hefty Norwegian. Bello looking for that space in behind. And here is Hoff. Unplug, replug. Driven crossfield towards O'Connell, and a good gather by Keenan.
And again, you can see continued issues with the rest defensive shape for Pancyprian, how easy it is for one pass from the keeper and they can carry near to the half line. Not crazy about this decision, but it's worked out for them. Ultimately for Pancyprian in possession, they need to find the way to do things at a far higher tempo, and the way they position themselves behind the ball to limit the transition is going to be something that they have to manage going into halftime and as part of the game plan for the second half. At the same time, they also have to find more risk and maybe commit some more numbers forward to find a way to get themselves a goal. So they're in a difficult place where the threat is on the counter, so you want to leave numbers behind, but the scoreline's 2-0.
Right, and
you're going to have to figure out how you get more numbers forward in a way that doesn't leave you exposed in transition.
Luke Smith. St. Vilt. Give and go with Ruiz. Back into Eric Ruiz, who comes into the area. Mike Bello. Bello still onto his left foot. Tame effort, but really promising build up by Hoboken once again, coming down that right flank. It is a tide that the Pancyprians have been unable to stem so far. And look at St. Bill, he's made all the ground back. He's got quite an engine on him.
And that's, I think you've got to be quite impressed by that for a winger that's obviously more known for what he does going forward. The work both him and McGregor have put in to help the team defend has been, quite frankly, astounding. And then to still be a threat in transition, it's really quite a job well done from both of those players. And yeah, Pancyprian really don't have an answer for it.
The fourth official has held up 3 minutes of stop time. So I think we're a little bit behind on our clock actually with just the water break, but going to 3 minutes. Well, electronic high-tech board. We don't see that every week at the APSL. Half-hearted appeals for a handball from the Pancyprians. Great.
Here we go. Here we go.
A little bit clumsy by Liam Gusky. John, what would be your team top be for both teams, given their situations at half-time?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, Pancyprian, obviously you've got to find a way to change the mood in the locker room, because I imagine it's not going to be a happy one. And I think the things they need to, look, there's 45 minutes, it's 2-0, a goal changes everything really, really quickly, so the game is still, you know, within their means. However, you said it earlier, the next goal is going to be the most crucial one. The second thing for the Pancyprian to sort out with the group is the ball has to be moved at a higher tempo. You have to get Frimpong more involved and isolated in the final third, because we only saw about 2 moments from him in that 10 to 20 minute mark, and for the most part we haven't seen him in that position again. So how you now overload one side to isolate, and how you now progress through the center of the field and not through the back line, as it's a faster path to get the ball to Frimpong and get him isolated, would be the key things for me. And then I think the last thing from Pancyprian is got to be the repress. There has to be more aggressiveness when the ball's turned over, to deny forward passes, to deny the counter. I think for Hoboken, there's not much to say at halftime other than, okay, let's continue doing what we're doing. Let's make sure everyone continues to work hard defensively, is clean, and not making simple mistakes to give Pancyprian a lifeline. And make sure that the front three are still a threat on the counter, because if you can get that third goal, then I think the game is well and truly over. The only other thing that Hoboken needs to take a look at is what are the changes Pancyprian will make. For me, there has to be a change tactically from Pancyprian, and so there's going to be a little bit of a wait and see from Hoboken to see what that is before they can make their own adjustment.
Gusky trying to cause some trouble right before the half-time whistle, and he gets a ball in the face for his troubles. And Searchwell quick to check on him, rightfully. That was point blank. And the referee is going to take that opportunity to blow the half-time whistle. Hoboken with the 2-goal lead, a McGregor brace. Pancyprians with a lot of thinking to do if they're going to continue their remarkable run in the APSL Metro finals. Do not go anywhere, guys. We'll be back shortly with the second half, but for now it's my pleasure to show you our May Goal of the Month nominees.
Tomagate looks to be the one to set the poise. He takes a shot. Tomagate with the top of the corner. Untouchable. Tomagate ties this one up for Lone Star.
They go short. Vizcaíno. Etienne volley. Fantastic. Etienne makes it look so easy. Volleying from the edge of the box over the outstretched hand of Andrade. Sousa. Kamara, good move. Can he set himself up? Cuts it back. Kamara! What a dribble! And then the goal. It's 2-0 Ironbound. They put it away with 3 minutes to go. It's a debut goal for Seydou Kamara in the UPSL Premier.
Last next to the match. Ibarra. Trivella! What a shot! Unbelievable. Trivella from Ibarra.
As we wait for the referee to blow her whistle. Both fake. Marty takes the shot, curls it in, back of the net! Marty with a free kick late on! Love City back with the lead!
Met Oval now, comes forward, Gonzalez, quick passing in the midfield, a great ball behind the line, Bernard now, white shots to his right, Met Oval 3.
Lorient towards the top of the box, towards Merchant, who will line up his right. Merchant! That's mesmeric from Merchant. A lovely strike. With point and difference.
Find a little flick there. And the shot is in. Here we go. And it's a beautiful goal. Renegades. What a shot. A bullet into the top left corner. Milton Campos.
Palameke, oh my word! Stunning! It's an explosive Colombian thunderbolt straight into the back of the net.
Keenan with 2 humongous saves here at the end. Lansdowne looking for a winner. Still pressure, there it is! Over Keenan, not enough pressure outside the box. And Lansdowne have flipped the score with 2 goals in the second half.
His pass just as loose. That was a bit more tight there from Cruz. Lozano can come the other way. He did really well to get past that back line. He can square or take the shots. Game tied.
To recover. Gonna give it to Daya. Daya scored, able to get that one in.
Breslin. At the goal. Oh, goal from Breslin! Unbelievable from his own half.
Castillo takes a shot, and it's a beauty in the top corner. Nestles in, and he points. He knows what he just did was something you only dream of.
Hello everyone, welcome back to St John's Belsom Stadium. Hoboken with the 2-goal lead. Cameron McGregor with the brace. Just trying to see if the Pancyprians have made any changes at half-time.
Sebastian Ruiz is coming on the far side there.
But that's certainly a notable change.
Yep.
And perhaps the change of shape here. Let's see, they might have stuck with the back 3 of the wing backs. What does it look like to you, John?
I think they've gone into a 4-3-3 with Sebastian Ruiz coming into the left wing. Frimpong right back, the 2 center backs, and can't remember quite who is the left wing back, but he looks to be more of a left back now. We'll see how it plays out.
In any case, Ruiz is certainly to bring some fireworks to the game for Pancyprian, I think.
So it looks like Liam Gusky is the man who has made way for Sebastian Ruiz. Right, driven up. Here's great. Gray's going to switch that out to Stephen O'Connell. Eric Frimpong. Oh, he's been hacked down there.
You can see with a clear change to a 4-3-3, but Frimpong taking a much more advanced position on the right side than his counterpart on the left side. So I think the idea from Pancyprian is to get Frimpong a little bit more involved, with Tristino playing on the right to potentially be able to create a 2v1 against the outside back. So that'll be interesting to see how exactly it plays out. Most importantly, how Hoboken is going to adjust to it. Because there's clearly a different way that Pancyprian is going to go about it, and we'll see what, if anything, the Hoboken coach chooses to go with.
A relatively routine catch for Keenan, and actually that was another one of our substitutes who put the ball in for the Pancyprians, Pablo Ablanedo, who scored a sensational goal for the Pancyprians in the last meeting between these sides. He's going to be in the number 18. Looks as if he's slotted into the midfield. It's Kevin Johnson who's made way. Joe Holland looking for Ruiz, and there's the pace of the Colombian. Just let it run away from him. And Corriman able to clear the lines. Joe Holland again. Balon. O'Connell. Joe Holland brings it down. He's going to get it a second time, Holland. Ablanedo ran into too much traffic, and now here comes the Hoboken counter-attack. But Mike Bello not in the same wavelength as Rojek. Decent start to the half from the Pancyprians. That was a lovely first touch from Joe Holland in the penalty area, but the shot blocked. Frimpong. Ablanedo. Tristino. Balon. O'Connell back to Gray. Ablanedo. Frimpong can take on McGregor. And McGregor defending like a seasoned fullback there. Was very patient before he committed the tackle. O'Connell. It's got a bit of a different feeling to the start of this half to how the first half went, isn't it, John?
Yeah, I mean, we said that Pancyprian was going to have to change something. I think you can see a clear intention is to isolate Sebastian Ruiz on one side and Frimpong and Tristan on this other side, Tristino, sorry, to create a 2v1. But I also, from Hoboken's standpoint, this is something they're probably a little bit comfortable doing. They're the team that's 2-0 up. They don't necessarily have to push a ton. You don't want to defend right on top of your box either. But I think this is kind of a natural course of action.
Oh, just hang on a second. That ball was dinked in nonchalantly from Ruiz. Didn't look like there's a lot to it, but 3 or 4 players took a swing at it and missed it. And Keenan was horribly misfooted there and very relieved to see it go past his far post.
And this will be the danger for Hoboken if they continue to defend this low. They'll allow things into their box, and then you're just, somebody slips, if there's a miscommunication, can quickly lead to an opportunity. So I think they're going to need to step their line up a bit, find a way to get earlier pressure on the ball, and make sure Pancyprian isn't feeling too comfortable. But right now, Pancyprian is the team that is looking to carry the game and looking to be the team to potentially score. If you can look right now, from the back line for Hoboken, the amount of distance from the 9 to the center backs is easily 40, 50 yards. They're going to need to find a way to keep it more compact so that Pancyprian can't play through them.
It's great. O'Connell back to Sebastian Ruiz. And guys, make sure to tune in next weekend. We're going to have the APSL Northeast Finals. So the first semi is going to be the winner of tonight, who's going to play the winner of Predators and Oakland United in the Delaware River Conference. That game kicked off at the same time as this. You can also watch that on Game of Frame. So that will be the first semis kicking off at 4 p.m. At 7 p.m. we're going to have the Mid-Atlantic Conference winners against Kickoff Elite, who won the Northeast Boston Constitution Conference last night. And also we have to give a shout out, Coach John, you're going to be in action on Wednesday night against Kingston Met Oval under-23s, the defending Leaford Club champions. 7 p.m. live from the Oval in the heart of Queens. What are you expecting for that from Kingston, John?
Yeah, I think Kingston, I think, is wanting to rebound. I don't think they were thrilled with their performance last year, and I think that's reflected with some of their recruiting and some of the roster decisions they've made. They've had a decent start to the year so far, only losing to Excelsior. So in terms of the games we've played so far, this should be the most competitive that we've seen, and I think defensively they're always a solid team. So for us, it's going to be somewhat similar to here. How we manage the transition is going to be the crucial area for us.
Almost always we get entertainment when we go and watch your team join out there. And also, we're guaranteed to get a lively atmosphere with the young Met Oval Ultras. They're some of the best supporters we live stream, as Tristino sends it across.
Honestly, it is the best part about building this program has been the reaction from the young boys, and it's a Wednesday night, so they're training before the game, so we should have a good crowd again.
Balon finds James Tristino. Now we'll fall to Jordan Balon. The referee got in the way there. Ablanedo, Tristino. It's looking a little ominous from the Pancyprians at the moment, and as you've pointed out, John, Hoboken are getting stuck quite deep when they're going defensively, and then there's a little bit of temperature between McGregor and Tristino.
That's a yellow card! That's a yellow! You need a pitch?
Language getting a bit colorful, out here. But again, I think when you look at the difference from the first half to the second half, in the first half, the influence that St. Bill and McGregor had on the game going forward, and so far, this half, you haven't seen them involved in anything but the defensive side on top of their box. So they're going to want to figure out a way to get those guys more involved higher up the pitch. And for me, that starts by defending higher up the field.
Joe Holland will serve up this free kick. Swung, and it's a good ball. And there was a header by Braden Brown, I believe, the one to connect with it. Lots of pace and whip on the cross. Brown rose above a pack of players, couldn't get clean connection. But Coach Matt Farrell is pacing around anxiously on that Hoboken bench, and he's, I think, preparing to respond to some of the pressure the Pancyprians have been able to apply.
Yeah, you have to give credit to the Pancyprian staff. We said that a change was going to need to be made for them to get back in the game, and the change they've made is really starting to pay dividends. Hopefully, they're going to need that to turn into a goal sooner than later. But Hoboken needs a response, okay? And then hopefully, I imagine that's what he's figuring out on the sideline, whether that's with some subs or his own, or if there's going to be a tactical change. But this is starting to, if I'm a coach on the Hoboken sideline, I'm starting to get a little bit worried about how the match is proceeding.
Only 10 minutes have gone in this second half. Still plenty of time for the Pancyprians. O'Connell. And in the last 5 meetings between Hoboken and the Pancyprians have never failed to score at least 3 goals. So they've still got plenty of reasons to believe, and they were behind against Lansdowne for much of the game last weekend. They fought back. Ablanedo to Eric Frimpong. McGregor again defending really well.
You have to be impressed at his ability to impact the game on both sides of the ball, McGregor. Obviously, he's scored 2 goals. He could be well within his rights to say, I've done my part. But the work he's putting in right now to manage Frimpong 1v1 has been quite impressive.
Jordan Balon. Great. Brown, he looked like he got caught late there, but the referee waving it away. And here's Mike Bello. McGregor is sprinting up on the far side, and he's all by himself for now. But Sebastian Ruiz policed that situation marvellously. Then he's played a bit of a obstacle ball to Ablanedo, who dealt with that manfully well. Joe Holland. He's in his 33rd year now, Joe Holland, but still going strong. Right. Still with occasionally the temper as well. Right, I say that. But for how many years has he delighted everyone who's watched the APSL, followed the Pancyprians? He's driven this team through these finals in the past years. They could certainly do with some of his magic once again now. That free kick will go all the way out for a goal kick. Jordan Balon swings it towards Tristino, slightly too high for Tristino. Most of the time, Pancyprian's faithful asking for the referee to blow that full-time whistle. They're so used to leading here. It's not often that they find themselves behind, but now the calls are for the play to be sped up. And we have to reflect on how far Hoboken have come as well. Only promoted to the top flight in 2022. They barely survived relegation in their first season, and since then it's been progressive improvements in terms of what's happened on the field, and very manifestly with the stats as well. Their points total has increased every year. They missed the playoffs narrowly the last 2 seasons, and the 45 points they reached this season was by far their best tally. And the fact that in the regular season they beat Lansdowne and the Pancyprians away from home, and then beating the Greeks away from home in the semis. These are heights that the New Jersey side have not reached before. And they are a little over 30 minutes away from completing a stunning season in the APSL Metro. But a lot can change in half an hour of football. That was a loose free kick. Sebastian Ruiz. It's Joe Holland. He's in the area. Lots of white shirts around him. Eric Ruiz, I should say, committed and got it right, had to. Played up to Joe Holland, and he looked to his left to Baden Brand. You know, I just wonder if there was a gap there for Balon on the right.
Yeah, I just think, you know, in terms of where you want Braden Brown, where you want your 9, the ball from Joe Holland is probably exactly where you'd want your 9 to be threatening. So I just think he's got to find a little bit of a balance between how much he's dropping in and how much he's looking to threaten and get on the end of things, particularly as we get near the box. Because it was, if we're being honest, it was quite a dangerous ball by Joe Holland. You know, it's interesting what you were saying earlier just regarding the history of Hoboken and whatnot, and obviously I'm a relatively new transplant to New York in the Northeast, and the quality of the men's league system here and the history and how much it means to people, and you can see even with the fans here and how emotional some of them can get. It's really, really cool to see. It's the only thing, it's the closest thing that I've been around in football in the US, and I've been in a lot of places that can kind of mirror the non-league football system that you kind of see over in Europe and in England in particular. Even for our younger kids, you know, we often play these guys, our U19s, we often try to get games against these guys to prepare us for our tougher opponents, and to be able to get this level game, you know, at an amateur level here in the US is really hard to find outside of New York and the Northeast.
There's certainly no lack of passion there, John. You hit the nail on the head. We've had 2 changes. Chris Bermudez has come on for Joe Holland for the Pancyprians, and it looks as if Ranchway St. Ville withdrawn. He may have just tweaked something. He was on the ground after he went off. He put in a fantastic shift. I'm sure the Pancyprians will be very relieved to see him off. But it doesn't get too much better for the Pancyprians. I think it's Tyler Diaz has come on. Just try and confirm that in a second. It's Ivan Garcia who is on the right flank for Hoboken. Another change is imminent for the visitors as well. And John, just going back to the scene we've got here, the semi-pro scene, amateur scene, whatever you want to call it, and you know, compare it with the non-league football, would you put yourself in the camp of definite pro rails needed for American soccer in general?
This could be a longer discussion than we have time for, but you know, for me, 100%. When you're in a closed system, sorry, I want to let it go here a little bit.
See what Ivan Garcia can do, and it's intercepted, and the referee judging that wasn't a back pass.
Unfortunately, a closed system breeds mediocrity, and that goes from a business perspective all the way to what happens on the field, because you're not punished, right? When there's relegation, I need to get the business right, because if I don't get it right on the field, I need to make sure that I still survive relegation. And so the domino effect that has, going all the way down into the youth sector and what it means to develop your own players is huge. And so for me, when I look at, you know, kind of the problems that exist within soccer in this country, the thing that I think could fix that for me is pro rel. And so I definitely sit on that side of the camp. Obviously, it's a bit of a heated debate in the soccer circle here in the U.S. And I'm also not a businessman having to potentially lose millions if my team gets relegated. So it's I get the luxury of just enjoying the competition.
Another change for both teams. O'Connell has been withdrawn, and it looks like Jason Udu, another newcomer for the Pancyprians.
Yeah, and hopefully the players can bring some fresh legs and some life. Obviously, you know, Hoboken's lost some quality with Bello and St. Ville going off the field. But 2-0 up, sometimes you just need legs and energy. And you've still got McGregor up front who just needs a moment to cause himself and cause Pancyprian a problem.
Samuel Apatime, who came on for Mike Bello. Apatime did score coming off the bench against the Pancyprians in the last meeting, as Ruiz is going to drive this in pretty flat. And it is Apatime with the header. That's probably going to be a foul. A little touch on the back by Frimpong. Got about 25 minutes, give or take, remaining in the second half. If you're the Pancyprians, John, at what point do you start to throw the kitchen sink at this?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely getting to that point. You know, you need 2 goals just to get yourself tied back in the game. And that's going to take time. You know, they had a bit of life to start the second half, and they're still the team that's kind of dominating play, but there hasn't been much threat on the goal, I'd say, in the last 10 minutes. So you're definitely hitting that point where either with subs that can bring some life and quality, or see what Bermudez can add to the game from a creative standpoint, or whether you're really starting to throw numbers forward and leave yourself vulnerable on the counter, because you've got to find a way to get yourself on the scoreboard.
Lovely play by Hoboken. Ivan Garcia's got space. He's hit the post. Oh, millimetres away from the goal that surely would have sealed the title for Hoboken. And if the Pancyprians do come back, we're going to look back at that moment as a pivotal one.
Absolutely, absolutely. It was honestly, it's a really high quality strike that I'm not sure how much better he could have done with it, with the exception of it being an inch or two the other side of the post. But you asked for a spark from the Hoboken subs, and that's what he's been able to do for you.
Christopher Bermudez into Balon. So Jason Udo has actually gone into the front line for the Pancyprians. Just looking at the shape now, I'm wondering if Coach Holland has changed things up again.
Yeah.
Might be two in the centre force position now, with Ruiz and Tristino on the flanks. And guys, a reminder, today's broadcast is sponsored by Umbro. You can head to umbroteam.com to start designing your team kit for free now. Produced by Umbro, designed and worn by you. And with the World Cup coming, I've got to say, my favourite old-time World Cup kit, the England 2002 home kit, Umbro made with the stripe. John, do you have a favourite for World Cup jerseys?
I'm not sure I could say I do, if I'm being completely honest.
Let's just hold up a second. Garcia is causing some mischief again. Garcia with the scissors onto his right foot. Ivan Garcia! Fingertip save by Levine. Very smart indeed. Ivan Garcia close on 2 occasions, but no cigar.
But if I'm an Englishman, 2002, I'm not sure how much that's a World Cup I want to remember with David Seaman being chipped.
Ouch. I'm still asking myself, did Ronaldinho mean it? I remember we were all watching that in England in the school cafeteria. We got into school very early, and a lot of tears were shed that day.
No, I remember exactly where I was during that game. I was at back when ODP was a real thing at Region Camp. There was an English coach watching the game, and he was in tears after that game.
The golden generation.
Actually, you know what? That was the '98 World Cup, another brutal year for England.
I think just about every World Cup, John, has ended in tears somehow or other. Here comes Epitime on the edge. He's caught that well. And Levine was at full stretch. This time the referee judging that Levine didn't touch it.
No, if I'm the Hoboken coach, I have to really be pleased with what the subs have brought for me since coming on. That's 3 chances from the 2 wingers that have come on to replace Bello and Saintville.
Ruiz.
And it's clear Pancyprians have made a bit of a tactical change. Frimpong's inverting inside to kind of make a 2-2 rest defending structure. Well, they have 2 forwards up top, so they definitely must have listened to the broadcast and heard that they're going to need to start throwing some further numbers forward. But as you can see, the impact of that is that Hoboken's found themselves slightly more dangerous on the break.
Bermudez is going to take this corner. It's going to be a left foot out swinger. Went over the entire pack. Gray will keep it in. Frimpong returns it to Thomas Gray. Lots of blue shirts still in the penalty area. There's a man down in the area. I think it's Tristino. Play continues. Tristino back onto his feet. Bermudez. He'll get another bite at the apple with a corner, and now the referee's going to have a word with Tristino. Some sort of off the ball contact. I certainly didn't see it, but Tristino not happy. More defending for Hoboken to do here. Sent towards, there's a 6-yard box, headed clear, big header by Corriman. Cameron McGregor. Frimpong forcing him out. Josh Levine. That's a loose ball by Thomas Gray, and the cap was there in the middle for Tyler Diaz, who's just come on for Hoboken. Yellow's going to be dished out to Rojek.
He'll gladly take that. It's a really good foul given the situation to slow and eliminate the danger.
Luke Smith withdrawn for Diaz, who sent in the corner. Set up Mike Bellows' stoppage time winner last weekend. Udo has spun. It's Jason Udo. He goes down, and the referee waves emphatically no. Oh, that's a massive call. First look for me, John, it didn't look as if the foot had been hung in there by McGregor. There's shoulder to shoulder. I'm not sure if there's quite enough there. What did you think?
For me, it's a penalty. Udo had, let's see what happens here.
Well, let's just go back to that second. It's a 3-on-1 for Hoboken right now. Tyler Diaz on his own. Diaz! Oh, Hoboken have surely sealed it! It's a huge minute of controversy at St John's Balsam Stadium. A penalty waved away at one and down the other. Tyler Diaz has sealed surely one of the most famous victories in Hoboken's 114-year history.
Nothing to see there. Nothing to see.
Yeah, obviously a huge call or no call by the referee. My first instinct was penalty. I thought Udo got himself slightly in front of the diving defender, but Hoboken's done really well to take advantage of the counter there. Really clean finish, and you'd have to think at this point that it's going to be game over.
Shut up. Go watch there, Hamburg.
It's a stunning scoreline. Hoboken 3, Pancyprians 0. I'm sure all of you are rewinding right now and having a look at that penalty moment to make your own assessment. You've heard John and I's perspective. I thought probably not quite enough. John, you feel like probably just enough, and that probably tells you it was borderline.
Yeah.
Where you've seen them given, you've seen them not given.
Yep.
But whatever the controversy was going to be, it's just been quadrupled given that Hoboken have gone up the other end and surely put the match to bed.
And that's where it's nice to be in the stands and commenting and not having to be the one making the decision in the end. And I think that's the easy thing for all of us that are watching here in the stands or watching online. Is it's one thing to watch and see what's happening, particularly from this vantage point. It's another thing to be on the field and have to take advantage of these or make these calls or make these tactical decisions. And you know, I feel for Pancyprian because I don't think it's been for lack of effort by any means. But Hoboken, you have to really take your hat off to. They've kind of executed a perfect game plan here.
3 goals in the counter-attack. Udo. Well, forget about Liverpool against AC Milan in the Champions League final. This is something far more dramatic that's required now from the Pancyprians. They've got a little over a quarter of an hour to find 3 goals.
Crazier things have happened, but this would be definitely on the edge of one of those crazier things. So if they're going to have a chance, this could be a really important moment to try to get themselves some life and a goal.
Underwhelming corner by Jordan Baylon. Well, I remember, well, hang on a second, let's see how this emerges. Bermudez. Hoboken survived. I remember about a year ago to the day, John, I was commentating Met Oval scoring about 5 goals in the space of, I think, 8 minutes against First State. I don't think I've ever seen that in all the time I've commentated.
And ironically,
You saw that one, huh?
yes.
You saw
I
that
think so.
one.
But no, ironically, we actually played First State yesterday. So that memory popped up on Instagram of that 8-minute swing of 5 goals.
It's a remarkable spell of play. As teammates absolutely flattened
We have it on video. Come and take a look, bitch.
the big Norwegian Jens Hoff.
Fucking bitch. Clueless.
Driven up towards Ivan Garcia, Tyler Diaz. Ivan Garcia, Hoboken looking to rub salt in the wound here. Udo breezes past Eric Ruiz, not past Kobe McGregor, but retrieved by Bermudez. It's Alex Pallas who's come on for the Pancyprians and on the ball now. He replaced Tristino, but not the right pass. McGregor, lovely spin, and then he's been brought down, and I imagine we'll see a yellow for Pallas.
Yeah, it really is a brilliant touch, particularly for a man that's put in a lot of work today, and to still have the quality in the locker at the end of the game for that is again, it's just really highlights how good he's been today.
And with so much that's happened in this second half, I'm trying to play it back, but in my mind, Pancyprians have probably had most of the possession. But in terms of the quality of the chances, I think it's fair to say Hoboken probably have had the rub of the green there, haven't they? Obviously, hit the woodwork and some saves.
Yeah, Pancyprian definitely started off the second half in a really good way. Unfortunately, nothing really threatening the goal outside of the one half cross, half shot that went through and kind of wrong-footed the Hoboken keeper. But in terms of the chances, again, you really have to give your hats off to the Hoboken subs. Both wingers have come on and been really threatening with the few moments that they've had. I think it's also just the natural of the game state, right? You've got a team that's pushing, trying to get themselves back in, and so they are always going to leave themselves a little bit exposed in the back, and that's just what's necessary given what happened to start the game and the hole they put themselves in.
Here's Braden Brown. It's Lionel who's come on at the left back position for Hoboken, and he marshalled Braden Brown. Here at Frimpong. Ruiz. Garcia. Rojek. Sprays it out to Epatime.
I think Rojek's another one for me that's been quietly very, very good. Not going to get the plaudits, not necessarily going to get the highlights, but he's been the guy in the middle of the field that has done really well to kind of blow things up in certain moments and also pick out and spray the ball like he did in that last moment there.
Damien Searchwell is making way. So both fullbacks have just been replaced by Hoboken. And I believe it's Matthew Gottrell who's going to come on. That should be Hoboken's last outfield substitution. So guys, a reminder, we're going to have the Northeast APSL playoffs next weekend. So the semi-final is going to be, I think it's fair to say, most likely Hoboken at this point. They're going to play the winner of Westchester and Oakland United, which kicked off at the same time as this contest in the APSL Delaware River final. And we're also going to have the semis later next Saturday. Final on Sundays. That's sent towards the frame, decently caught back straight into the hands of Josh Levine. So the Hoboken and APSL Delaware River semi will be at 4 p.m. The second semi between the Mid-Atlantic Conference and KBO Elite will be at 7 p.m. And then the final, we're expecting to be midday on Sunday. All that coming live to you exclusively on Game and Frame from Allentown, Pennsylvania. Ticking into the final 10 minutes. Pallas. Bermudez. Sebastian Ruiz. Onto his left foot. Dinks it in. Just too much on it for Braden Brown.
Unfortunately, we haven't gotten enough of those moments from Sebastian Ruiz. Not necessarily through his own fault. I don't think the Pancyprian have quite been able to get him isolated enough for him to bring out that kind of quality more often, particularly since the first 10 minutes of the second half. The first 10 minutes, Pancyprian really looked like they were going to make a game of this. And Hoboken managed and weathered it really, really well, have defended phenomenally in and outside of their box. Again, if you're the Hoboken coach, this is exactly how you'd want to draw it up. Really marshaled well there by the Hoboken center back.
Keenan calls a cucumber there. And Keenan, who was the hero of the semi-final, has had a pretty quiet night overall. I guess you do give a lot of credit to the defensive and midfield line in front of him, and even, as you've highlighted a few times, John, what the wingers have done, tracking back as well. It's been a real team effort from Hoboken to shut the Pancyprians out. And if they do hold on to this clean sheet, Hoboken, it'll be the first time in modern history, at least as far as the records go back that I could find, that they have kept a clean sheet against the Pancyprians. McGregor. Got Trell. Ablanedo. Finds Bermudez with the reverse ball. And he's searching for Jason Udo. Keenan off his line. Bermudez gets the second. Tyler Diaz feeling a little hard done by that. Well, unless there's some very late heroics from the Pancyprians, this is going to round up a season that they will certainly want to forget quickly. They knew pretty early on with the departure of some pretty major names this was going to be a rebuilding season, but I think they always hoped that they could do that rebuilding in time for the playoffs and peak at the right time. Greek Americans, when the way they won the APSL National Championship, had their worst regular season but were phenomenal once the playoffs hit. Pancyprians looked as if they might have that on the cards with that comeback win against Lansdowne with a really strong performance, but it hasn't been their best this evening by any means. But you know that they will spend a lot of time reviewing this in the summer and will do everything in their power to come back stronger and be back at the top where they believe they always belong.
And I think that's the important thing for Pancyprian moving forward. You're not always at the top. There is always that rebuilding cycle that you have to go through. And the decisions they make in the off-season here are going to be important for them to kind of reestablish themselves back at the top of the pack and as the team that's the historically #1 group in the area. And so, you know, this is part and parcel of the game and the life cycles of clubs. But ultimately,
just see what happens here, Ruiz, and it comes to Ablanedo! Oh, it's a bullet! A bullet of slim hope for the Pancyprians. They've got about 6 minutes left. Ablanedo with a tremendous strike once again against Hoboken. Perhaps not quite over yet, John.
A lot to do. That'll certainly give them some life and some belief. And hopefully it'll make a bit of an entertaining end for us here. But ultimately, like I was trying to say before, ultimately everything is about how you respond. It's a really good response right now from Pancyprian, so we'll see how it continues in these remaining 6.
McGregor. There's a late tackle by Gray. Referee was well placed. McGregor is holding his head. Referee technically has to stop it if it's a head injury, so can I presume he doesn't quite believe McGregor. And he's going to give the Pancyprians a head up. Free kick.
I imagine the Pancyprian staff and certainly the fans are going to look even more back at this no penalty call that led to the counter in the 3rd goal for Hoboken as being really pivotal and influential. But as much as you want to maybe point to that being as a pivotal moment to the game, I think Pancyprian really have to look at themselves in the mirror and understand the first half just wasn't good enough. I think they made some good changes here in the second half to give themselves a fighting chance. But like I said earlier, it's in a final. It's one of those things where you can't have a catastrophic start. It's really, really difficult to come back from a catastrophic start, and I think that's what we're going to have to term Pancyprian start in that first 10 of the first half.
Ruiz towards the far post. Gray puts it back into the mixer. The big Norwegian goes up, and there's more appeals for a penalty. I'm not sure exactly what they were asking for there, whether they felt that Jens Hoff was caught late or was that a hand, I'm not sure. And then Frimpong and McGregor are going together. Didn't see what instigated that.
That's a fucking cabbage!
Not the first time those two have come together.
That's a yellow!
And Coach Farrell is going to take McGregor off for these final moments. And it looks like Kevin Santamaria stripped down.
Shut the fuck up, ref! Shut the fuck up! Play the game! You make yourself look so stupid, ref! Stupid call! You have no fault!
The referee getting some constructive criticism from the fans. Some more colourful with their language than others, as that's driven in. Luckily, your ultras, John, aren't old enough to know some of these words.
But this is, the passion is what you have to be really pleased and really, it makes this game even more special. Beyond the history here, the passion that you have from the fans, and let's see what happens here.
Lionel looking across, it's Tyler Diaz. Look for the spin, and an unconventional tackle, to say the least, from Thomas Gray. I think the only reason that wasn't given was because the referee judged Diaz had lost the ball, and there was a centre back behind him, behind Gray, who had got possession.
I also think it's just a little bit of a centre back holding his ground and not moving, not budging.
He certainly didn't. He's a big man to try and move as well. That's sent in. What a clearance by Kobe McGregor, acrobatic. Have about 2 minutes of normal time remaining. Can the Pancyprians give themselves a lifeline? Udo. McGregor's there again. Signed relatively late in the season, Kobe McGregor, to join his brother Cameron in the Hoboken squad. He has been a difference maker. There's no way around it. Hoff asking a lot of even the pacey Ruiz. And it's the best case scenario for Hoboken. It's going to be a throw in. What a bounce that was. Linesman judging it. That crazy spin didn't cross over the end line. But Hoboken certainly very close to the finish line themselves, even with that goal pulled back by the Pancyprians. And I imagine most people would agree that this victory for Hoboken, having beaten the Greek Americans last weekend, perhaps signifies the beginning of the end of the Big Three's dominance. It's always been Lansdowne, the Pancyprians, or the Greeks who have won this playoff, and it's always been those three who have been head and shoulders above the table, with a few rare exceptions. Doxa, of course, winning the league in 2022, but that was really a one-off. The formula has been regularly Pancyprians, but Hoboken have gradually caught up the ground the last few years, as here comes Udo, saved, rebound, Braden Brown's offside. The flag is off. I think on the first viewing he did look offside.
Another really influential decision. I don't think we have the angle to really say whether it was or wasn't. But if that would have counted with 5 minutes of extra time as well, that really would have, I think, made the Hoboken coach sweat a bit. unfortunately, I think that may kind of put the fork in it.
Worked out to Sebastian Ruiz. It's got to come now for the Pancyprians. 4 blue shirts in the penalty area. Udo, who's definitely livened things up for the Pancyprians since coming on. He's won a free kick. Yellow card for Eric Ruiz. Been told 5 minutes of stoppage time, of which about a minute has already been played. Ruiz towards the far post. Brilliant gather by Keenan. It looked as if it passed over him. And he clutched it out in the air with Jens Hoff waiting behind him. And we saw perhaps the brute force of Jens Hoff there. Ran into the goal, which definitely came off the worst from that collision. Palace. Epitime wins it back. Every second counts to Hoboken that they can keep the ball. And Epitime with a lovely jink and turn. But then he took it on one touch too many. Coach Farrell desperately waving his players back. He doesn't want this to come down to the margin. Ruiz. Braden Brown, heavy first touch. That was an industrial tackle by Hoff. Well, John, it's always a loaded question, but if you had to pick a man of the match out there today, who would you pick?
I think it's quite clear you're going to have to go with McGregor up front, who was a constant threat the entire day. Obviously scored 2 goals, and I think on the other side of the ball as well, some of the defensive moments and the work he put in to ensure, you know, that Hoboken comes out on top. You really have to look at him as the key guy. I'm not sure there's anyone else that's really kind of coming close to a man of the match type performance.
There's a clip there of Epitime. And Hoboken can get more time off the clock. And
some really good work by the winger there just to see this game out. See these, you know, take a few more seconds off the clock, kill the momentum, kill the rhythm of the game.
All the subs have done a good job for Hoboken, haven't they?
Like, again, if I'm the Hoboken coach, that's going to be part of my post-game talk here, is how pleased he has to be with the subs and the impact they've made coming onto the field, particularly given the guys they replaced who had such an impact.
Beating the Greek Americans at Hofstra and the Pancyprians at St. John's, all in the space of 7 days. How many clubs can say they've done that? But Hoboken are a matter of seconds now away from it and from lifting their first ever top flight playoff title. Palace will bring this forward, but surely now anything for the Pancyprians would be little more than consolation. Mike Park has come on for these final moments as well in the midfield for the New Jersey team. Bit of a high foot from Park.
Going back to the player of the match conversation, you have to look at McGregor's brother as well. I think as another candidate, he's been completely rock solid. Him and his partner there at center back have really limited Pancyprian to few, if any, real chances. Even the goal that was scored was a great hit from outside the box. And so those two are very worthy runners-ups, I'd say, in the man of the match discussion. But again, it's really been quite a complete performance by Hoboken.
Jens Hoff impeded Keenan as he kicked it out of his hands. We've got to imagine we're going to get the full-time whistle in a matter of seconds. Tyler Diaz. Rojek. Epitime is just going to try and run down some time. He's not going to be able to buy himself a free kick, but he will get the thrown right by the corner flag. And another change is going to be made for Hoboken. It's going to be Rojek replaced, who, as you noted, John, has done a lot of work that perhaps could go unnoticed, but really important work in the heart of midfield.
Yeah, absolutely. Quietly good. Not somebody that you notice until maybe he's off the field. I'm not sure we're going to get enough time to notice it, but it's kind of the old saying about Busquets is if you watch the game, you don't notice Busquets, but if you notice Busquets, you understand the game.
Sebastian Rojek has come on for these final moments. He'll be lucky to get a touch. 5 minutes was up on the board. We've now had 6.5. The amount of stoppage time allotment at St John's has certainly been a point of contention in past years. I don't think it's going to be anything more than academic here tonight. Udo couldn't force his way past Gottrell. And that's that. Hoboken slay their second Greek giant in the space of a week and crown themselves APSL Metro Playoff champions. It's a stunning night for one of America's oldest clubs. And they came out all guns blazing, 3-0 up after 70 odd minutes. Almost a complete performance from goalkeeper to centre forwards. Pancyprians made it somewhat interesting in the last 20 minutes. But John, overall, fair to say Hoboken deserved champions.
I think on the balance of this game, clearly the team that was the most threatening, clearly the team that deserves to lift the trophy here in the end. And it's an interesting thing when you look at the format of leagues in the US and the playoff system. Is it's not necessarily about performing the entire year. It's performing well enough to get the playoffs, and then when you get the playoffs, it's if you're performing in the right moment, if you're performing at the end of the season, that's all that matters. I can remember my time in the USL Championship when Phoenix Rising ended up being the USL champions for the year, and they finished 7th in the league. And so that's the thing with these type of leagues and these type of games. The balance of the season becomes irrelevant, and each game's a final, and it's about how you show up on the day.
That Hoboken have shown up in stunning fashion. They've beaten the defending Metropolitan playoff champions, the Pancyprians. They've done it in style, and they will head to the APSL Northeast semi-finals, which will be next Saturday, 4 p.m, and they will play the winner of Oakland against Westchester Predators. Again, that game kicked off at the same time. Not sure what the score was there, but may already be over. But John, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you joining me in the commentary box today. Really looking forward to seeing you in the dugout next Wednesday with Met Oval.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's been fun. Definitely appreciate you inviting and having me out, and we'll hopefully we can have as good a showing on Wednesday for anyone that manages to make their way out to Met Oval.
Well, guys, we are going to have the trophy lift very shortly. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
From soccer fields across the USA to the legendary stadiums of Spain and Portugal, for 40 years, Petrobax has been the go-to expert for group travel to Spain and Portugal. We organize soccer group trips from start to finish, flights, hotels, transportation, and guided tours, all perfectly coordinated by our experienced team. Your trip can include attending La Liga and Portuguese Primeira Liga games, matches against local teams, pro training sessions, and even tournaments. As true experts in Spain and Portugal, we'll ensure you also experience the rich history, vibrant culture, and incredible food these countries are famous for. celebrating 40 years of crafting unforgettable journeys to Spain and Portugal. Petrobax, your team, your passion, your trip to Spain and Portugal starts here.
My name is Austin Brummett. I'm a men's soccer player at San Diego State University and I play forward. The Salt Air Case helps block odor from my cleats when I'm driving in my car or when I'm keeping my cleats inside my house, so I don't have to worry about it stinking up my room. It helps me keep track of my cleats and my shin guards so I know that they're together and I don't have to worry about tracking them down or losing them or stressing out about where they are. I would definitely rock this, walking to the games, walking around to my trainings. And it's super helpful for travel. When I travel in the airport to go to away games, it's not going to stink up my backpack or stink up the plane where I'm sitting. Magnetic strip on the top is super easy to open to take my cleats out and to put my cleats back in. I think it's an essential part of my outfit for soccer and helps keep all my stuff organized and stink-free.
A quality highlight reel is crucial for college and pro recruitment. A lot of services offer generic solutions, but at Game & Frame we know every player is unique and needs a personalised approach to win over coaches. Our process is simple. We work with any footage, and if you need help finding your best plays, we'll review games for you. Once we've finished, you'll have a reel you can upload to any recruitment platform. We've helped hundreds of players get the attention they deserve, including placements in Division 1 programs. Scan the QR code or email us for a free consultation and start the journey to maximize your recruitment potential.
He takes a shot. No! Tomagate looks to be the one to set the poise. He takes a shot. Tomagate with the top of the corner. Untouchable. Tomagate ties this one up for Lone Star.
They go short.
Anyway, congratulations to Hoboken FC for winning the APSL Metropolitan Conference Playoff Tournament, and best of luck in the regionals and hopefully nationals. It's a great honor. I know Hoboken intimately, and the oldest soccer club in the country. It's the first time we've won the league championship like this in our history. So congratulations. I want to present it to the captain.
So Mike Bello will lift the trophy. Hoboken FC, your 2026 APSL Metropolitan Playoff champions. For the first time in their 114-year history. And they've done it at St. John's, no less. A sensational night, a sensational season. And they've still got the regionals to look forward to. All right. Guys, let's get ourselves a post-match interview. Coach Matt, can we get you first? All right. Josh, let's know where we are. Matt, congratulations. You guys have beaten the Greek Americans at Hofstra a week ago. You've beaten the Pancyprians at St. John's tonight. Very few teams can say that in any situation. You've done it in a semi-final and final. How much does that say about the club's progress this year?
It says everything. We come here to, like I said a few weeks back, right? You don't come to come second best. You come to come first best, and you got to beat fucking everybody in front of you. So, I mean, look, we played against some good teams along the way, showing how good we are. Yeah, I mean, tough at times, tough to watch at times, but frightening attack. You know, big Cam fucking with 2 today, and what's his name? Justin Bieber with the other one. Brilliant. Yeah, just always a threat on the counter. Such a good, solid back four who've kept us in the game and headed everything, kicked everything. Quality midfield. Up the elbow! Yeah! Yeah! Go on, Peter!
We'll try to decipher what that up the elbow means. My bellow.
Let's go!
We'll get
go!
Your goal sensationally got Hoboken to this night. In terms of coming to St John's, you knew you were in for another really difficult occasion, but you guys are 3-0 up after 70 odd minutes, 2-0 up after 30. In terms of how you could have imagined tonight going, was this about the best case scenario?
I mean, we just had to show up, right? It was anyone's game. We had to show up. We started off bright. We got the first goal. We thought, why not get the second one? And then after getting the third, we kind of knew the game was there, but we just still had to hold it on. Obviously, they got one late, but we managed to get the job done. All right. So appreciate you guys. Hoboken, we just made history. Hey, see you in the regionals. Let's go!
All right, there we go. All right, guys. And we will see Hoboken in the regionals next Saturday. I'm sure that there's going to be a little bit of partying if the rather raucous mood is anything to go by. Before then for Hoboken, much deserved. But the goalkeeper's father owns a very good bar, actually, so they may be heading there. But Hoboken will be playing at 4 p.m. next Saturday in the APSL Northeast Regional Semi-Final. They'll be playing the winner of the Predators and Oakland, which may have already finished. We are going to have that all in Game of Fame. We're also going to have the second semi-final. That's going to be at 7 p.m. on Saturday night. And then the final of the Northeast, which nationally is going to be the quarterfinals. The winner of the Northeast playoffs will go to the national Final Four. That final, sorry, so many finals. The Northeast final is going to be a week on Sunday. We're expecting at midday. All that's going to be live from Lancaster or Allentown, one or the other. My geography is terrible with Pennsylvania. But that's all going to be on Game of Fame. So stay tuned for announcements on that. But guys, a big thank you to all of you for tuning in. Thank you to the Pancyprians for bringing us down here today and bringing us down here for the whole season. Thank you to both teams for putting on a great spectacle tonight. Thanks to Josh Ojokwu and Aidan White for doing fantastic work behind the camera. Thank you to John Burklow for giving so much insight in the commentary box. And guys, I really hope you enjoyed that broadcast. A stunning evening in APSL history. We'll look back on this for many years to come. Have a good rest of Sunday night, everyone. Take care.